Growing up, I always had a peculiar relationship with money. I've always been conscientious of how much money I had, how much money it took to do activities, how much money my parents had, my friends had, what have you. And I don't know even where that started or how that began, because as a child, I was always able to, live the life of a child, the good life. There wasn't a time in my life that I can remember where money was an issue, or the lack of money for that matter was an issue. But for some strange reason, money and my relationship with it was a challenge. I'll say that. It was a challenge to who I wanted to be, where I wanted to go, and not just from a materialistic standpoint, but just from the opportunities that I thought that I had before me. Somehow or another, those things were tied to money. And because I was the kind of person that would count my pennies and your pennies too, I always decided that now is not the time. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, when I get, a promotion on my job, when I get a better job, when I have X amount in savings, then I'll do it. And after having lived through the season that we are all still trying to get to the end of, that we're all, determining to see the light at the end of the tunnel, now is the time. So today I want to talk to you about don't wait. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today, because tomorrow is not promised. Now is the time. My name is Jennifer Mitchell Early. I help individuals and teams achieve organizational and personal success, and this is Leadership Matters. You might be thinking, okay, Jennifer, what does this have to do with leadership? What does your struggle with money or thoughts around money have to do with me? I'm going to tell you, mine was money. The devil always met me at my checkbook. There used to be a saying that I would say, the devil meets me at my checkbook. For you, it may be something else. It may be something totally different. It may be a matter of time. It may be a matter of education. It may be a matter of status or stature or whatever it might be. What I want to talk to you about today, and what I want to convey to you today, is now is the time. So during the pandemic, and probably, in all honesty, maybe a year before that, I was in a transition, and I was thinking, there's so much more that I want out of life. I'm in the middle of life, and although I was successful and I was educated and, I was doing well for myself and for my family, there were other things that I wanted to do. There was a prayer that I prayed a long time ago. Remember when Jabez's prayer was popular and everybody was saying, God, enlarge my territory? I was simply saying, Lord, use me. I want to walk in purpose. I don't want to get to the end of my life and find that this is not what I was supposed to do, to find that I had fallen short, that I had cut myself short based on my own perceptions, my own ideology, my own fears that I could not get beyond. I didn't want to get to the end of my life and God showed me the picture of what it could have been had I just trusted him enough to follow his leading and to, overlook my own fears and not let them become strongholds and therefore obstacles in my life. The way that the Lord works with me is everything that can be shaken is shaken. And what typically happens is I have a new opportunity or experience. I'm excited. I'm hitting the ground running. I'm passionate. I am all in. And I'm good. I'm good at what I do. And I say that not to be cocky, but I say that confidently because the gifts that God has given me, I don't have a problem walking in. Any job that I take, I'm going to give it 100%. 125%. I'm going to give it my all. I don't believe in half doing anything. If there's something I don't know, I'm going to learn how to do it. If there's a skill set I don't have, I'm going to achieve it. If I need to read about it, do tutorials on it, take a class about it, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. I am just that type of person. I leave no stone unturned. Anyone who has ever worked with me will tell you that. If you look at my LinkedIn page, I have recommendations that say that. I don't mind helping other coworkers. I don't mind helping my managers. I don't mind helping subordinates. I don't mind rolling up my sleeve to get what we need to get done. So everything is gravy, right? Everything is good. Everything is great. And then I become content. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I do it well. My clients are happy. My project manager is happy. My district manager is happy. Whomever the case may be, all the stakeholders involved are happy with my performance. And then I start feeling twinges of discontentment. It's nothing really. It's not the job. It's not the duties. It's not the coworkers. It's not the environment or the atmosphere. God has always blessed me to be places where I have been able to excel and therefore have been able to create the work climate in which I'm best suited to work at my optimal performance. But there's something else there. There's something deep down in my spirit that's a little off kilter. There's just something that lets me know this isn't it, sis. This isn't it. Don't start pitching a tent and building a house and laying a foundation. You're passing through. This is a season. This is a part of the journey. This is a part where you get what you need to get and you give what you need to give. This is just a season. You're just passing through. And then invariably, something is amiss. Something no longer fits. Something doesn't click. And I know that it's time to move on. Gone are the days where you go to an organization and you stay for your entire lifetime or your entire career. You spend 30 or 40 or 50 years there. And it doesn't mean that you're less loyal or that you don't give your all or you don't leave behind a legacy or that you don't add value when you're there. It just simply means that those days are over. You don't go somewhere and just sit and just do the same job for 30 years anymore. Even today, even for people who do have longevity on the job, they still want to evolve. They still want to grow. They still want to develop, even if that means that they don't want to manage or supervise or lead. It means that they still want to grow. They still want to learn. They still want to add to their skill set. They just don't want to supervise. And for some organizations, we have become short-sighted in that the only career path is that which leads to some form of managerial or supervisory role, when the fact of the matter is you can sit at your seat as an individual contributor and still lead, still have people who come to you for direction, for mentorship, for advice, for counsel, to be a cheerleader, to encourage them, and all of those things which entail you influence people and therefore you are a leader even where you sit. So I think sometimes there's a misnomer around if people don't stay, if you don't see 15 to 20 years, or people who decide that they don't want to go into a supervisory role and have been an individual contributor for the same amount of time, even though they've kind of moved around to parallel moves in different organizations. But having said that, the fact is that, you know, there may be something in people that that's how you pick up your skills along the way. Sometimes it entails changing, moving, having different experiences in life and in organizations and in your career. So that what starts off to be like a tinge, like, you know, I just felt something is not clicking, something is not right, begins to become like an earthquake in my spirit. Again, my clients don't know it. My coworkers don't know it. I know it's a divine connection that lets me know, Jennifer, it's time to move. So I had this experience probably about a year or two prior to COVID. And it was a time where not only did I have that feeling that I needed to evolve and develop more, and I needed to pick up different experiences to move on in my journey, but I also had some personal situations. Decided, you know what, I've worked on a lot of projects as a learning and development consultant. I want to understand what it means to be a project manager, because sometimes the disconnect comes in between what my goals are. My goals are to get the boots on the ground ready to, adapt to the changes coming down the pike, to have the behaviors they need to do the new job so that their performance will, will increase as a result of these changes, and that they feel capable and ready and desiring of the change. Whereas a project manager, their perspective was a little different. It was dollar driven, bottom line driven, critical path driven. So I decided it would be in my best interest to get a project management certificate so that I could understand what a project manager's goals are, so that I could ensure as a learning and development consultant that my goals could be congruent, and when they weren't, to understand the disconnect, the chasm between the two, so that I could bridge that gap. So I decided to do a certificate in project management through Case Western Reserve University's Weatherhead School of Management, and learned that. Then I decided that although I have been doing learning and development for 20 years, and I do believe that without a learning and development consulting, someone who does, instructional design, facilitation, and needs analysis, all those things, that individual that would bring you a comprehensive, holistic training solution, that there would not be a change. But there are individuals who understand the communication path as it relates to change management, how to create the buy-in from all stakeholders and your boots on the ground, and all those things in between. So I decided to go and get my certification as a ProSci certified change practitioner. In essence, you can say I leveled up. I leveled up my education. I leveled up my skill set, and then I opened up my own consulting business so that I can offer my services to other clients. Shortly thereafter, COVID comes, everything gets shut down, and life as we know it is different. Everything is different. We are literally trying to stay alive. We're trying to stay virus free. We're trying to stay mentally healthy. We're trying to stay physically healthy. And we're trying to remain connected to our family, friends, and our careers. Now is the time. I don't know for a lot of us when that sentiment resonated the greatest. Again, for me, I knew that change was coming. I felt it in my spirit, so I kind of started getting my ducks in a row. But during the pandemic, certainly, it became crystal clear that tomorrow is not promised. All the things that I had put off for varying reasons, all for me, primarily tied to my relationship with money. When is it smart to do things? Should I be doing it now? How much money is it going to take? What's the cheapest route I can take to get it done? All of those things kind of went out the window, because after all, you can't take money with you. And for me, it was important that I survived the pandemic. I'm a single parent. I have a child who's graduating, who's on her way to college. I need to make sure that my senior parents, who are extremely active, understood the consequences of being out and the consequences of the virus. I was wearing a lot of hats. I was an elected official. I had things going on in my municipality that had been going on for years that weren't always healthy situations or circumstances for me that quite frankly have become increasingly more toxic as the years had gone by. But again, I am the type of person who likes to have all of my ducks in a row, and that means to have a sure financial foundation before I just jump out all willy-nilly. Even though I am a woman of faith, I am a minister, I am a Christian woman, I still believe that you should count the cost, right? However, as the weeks turned into months and turned into a year, and we're still just trying to get out from under the consequences of being in a pandemic, probably now an endemic, something that we'll have to live with. The whole notion that now is the time is become more crystallized for me, more obvious that now is the time. Now is the time, if you haven't already, to level up your skill set, to get additional education, to pursue your passion, to embrace a hobby, to read more, to spend time with your family, to make yourself a priority. Now is the time. Now is the time to put away childish things. Now is the time to let bygones be bygones. We're in the middle of spring, and somewhere around here I'll put the link to the video that I did talking about knowing your season. We're in the spring. I just walked my property last week to assess what the consequence of the winter was. To walk around and see where there was life budding on the cusp and where there was none, what survived and what didn't. Now is the time, like the spring, for us to assess where we are in the midst of, where we see ourselves going, to assess what has worked, what hasn't worked, to assess where we've been so we know where we want to go. Now is the time. And so if you're a leader, now's the time to figure out what's going on with your team. Now is the time to assess your leadership skills and competencies and capabilities. Now is the time to honestly look at yourself and say, what is the legacy that I'm leaving to my team and my organization? What value am I really adding? Have I become complacent? Is it stale? Can I add something new? Does this align with my purpose in life? Now is the time. Now is the time to figure out what's next, to assess, are you in a valley? Are you at the peak? Now is the time to think about those things that are important to you and to prioritize, and not to allow any obstacle, be it for me, finances, or anything else, to get in the way. We invest in so many things and don't invest in ourselves. Like for me, I got a couple new tools today, and that's really what kind of was the impetus to this video. I got some tools, and it's taking me into the middle of my life to realize to make the investment one time as opposed to cheaping out and having to buy things multiple times. And it's not efficient, and it's not effective, and it's not economical, right? And so I was thinking, why did it take me this long to get to a place where I understood the value of investing in myself? We invest in cars. We invest in homes. We invest in gadgets and technology. We invest in a lot of things. How many of us we invest in our children, which is a great investment. But how many of us invest in ourselves? Now is the time. Now is the time to look over your life and think about all the dreams that you had. Are they still deferred? Are they dead? Are they gone? Have they been replaced with someone else's dream? Now is the time. Now is the time to go back look in those journals, dust them off, reread them, sit prayerfully in a quiet place, and think about what you really want out of life. How close or far from it are you? Now is the time. Now is the time to invest in you. Now is the time to do those things not out of obligation as we've been doing them, not because we have to, but to do things because we want to, because we desire to do those things. As a change practitioner, I talk to people about how to bring about long-term change, comprehensive long-term change. And it can't be because your, president, CEO of your organization says do X, Y, and Z. That can't be it. There has to be buy-in down to the lowest level, down to the level who's actually going to execute the change, to bring about the change. And that has to come from individual changes made by individual employees because they're bought in to your vision. They're bought in. They desire it. They're aware of what needs to happen. They're knowledgeable about how to do it. And they desire it. If you don't have the desire, if they could care less, they're not going to do it. In training, in my world, it's called the WIFM. What's in it for me? I always take the opportunity, one, to talk to the employees who are going to be executing the new behavior or the change, to see how do you feel about it? What are your thoughts? To let them know that their input and their contributions are valuable and they're necessary. And then two, I can then show them, well, what's in it for you? Your job will be easier. You'll be more efficient. You'll have, all the tools that you need. If you're missing something, now's the time to let me know so I can get that to you, so I can make it as easy for you as possible to be successful, for you to succeed. With them, what's in it for me? In everything that you've been doing to this point, beyond the things that we have to do, beyond the things that we are expected to do, what are the things that you want to do? What's in it for you? If you don't know, now is the time to figure out what's in it for me. Why am I doing it? Am I really where I want to be? Because tomorrow isn't promised. 5 years from now isn't promised. It's great to have a plan. I have one. I pray about it. And the saying that God laughs at our plans. And I am cognizant and I am committed to following the Lord because he does it so much better than I do. But I try to be a good steward in the process. I try to be faithful of the little so I can be ruler over much. I try to stay true to the original prayer of God, just use me. Just let me walk in purpose, Lord. I just pray that I'm obedient, Father, to your will, to the reason why you created me, for your plans that you talk about in Jeremiah 29:11. Now is the time. If we've learned nothing in this last year, let it be that we learn how fleeting time is. I just recently went back to my alma mater, my college campus with my daughter. She'll be attending in the fall. And it does not seem like it's been 25 years, but it has. It has been 25 years, and the university has changed and it has adapted like everything else. If it doesn't change or adapt, it dies. And it's changed and it is adapted, and it is a campus now for my 18-year-old incoming freshman. And, I'm excited about it. But you couldn't have told me 25 years ago that this time would have gone by so quickly, and that even some of my cohorts would not have made it this far, that their journey would have ended before now. I just dropped by real quick to let you know now is the time. Now is the time to invest in you. Now is the time to take a check to make sure that you're in the right place at the right time. Now is the time to check back in with yourself to see if it all ended today, would you have regrets? Now is the time. Now is the time to change your course and your direction. Now is your time to seek the face of the Lord or whomever you pray to or meditate or whatever it is that you do, vibrate higher. Now is the time. And I'll leave you with this. Like the spring, as you walk around and you see the newness, the new birth springing forth in the earth. And as you see the lushness come back, the restoration, I want you to understand that there's newness for you too. There's restoration for you too. There's new life for you too. And like the spring, there's going to be some inclement weather. There's going to be maybe a couple snowflakes that fall every now and again, a freeze that comes up unexpected, a windstorm as the climate settles into the new season. There are going to be some struggles. But remember, through it all, as you chart a new course, as you make way, as you take assessment and you evaluate where you are, that despite the challenges, despite the struggles, despite the obstacles that may impede your path along the way, don't forget, now is the time. Have a great week.